So anyhow, I'm going to be brief. I'm not often brief, but I'll try and be brief. And I've put this into 4 ideas here. First of all, it's when it says what a family member responds, I'm not speaking for all family members, I'm speaking just for myself. I think everybody has their own story, and this is my story. First of all, I wear a number of hats, and I haven't forgotten that. But here, as a wife, the reality of your spouse being a pedophile, whatever that is, or sexually attracted to children, is a problem that I never wanted, I never asked for, I still don't want, and I just wondered if that was familiar to anybody. Whether you're your family or the person, you did not ask for this, you don't want it. Well, I didn't want it, I didn't ask for it, I don't like it, but it's how many people would be. The next hat that I wear is my role as a health educator. So intellectually, I think it's very important that there should be something done, like we're doing today. That there should be people examining legislation that should protect children, that people should be more aware of what the big picture, not just their little piece of it. It is multifaceted like anything. Like I think of, head injuries, spinal cord injuries, and wearing helmets on motorcycles, stopping smoking to reduce cancer, these sort of things. It's not just one thing that gets to the end result, and we have reduced a lot of spinal cord injuries. We have reduced lung cancer and lung disease because a lot of people got involved with the legislation locally, education to children, to adults, wherever, and demanding laws being initiated to, hey, you got to wear a helmet, whether you like it or not. That's in California. I think that's the same here, isn't it? In Oregon, yeah. So I am very, I feel that the education is important, and as a wife, I feel that's important. And so we need to get that across. My third hat is I'm a Christian. And I know a lot of people aren't Christians, and there are a lot of bad Christians around, and we wish they were all wonderful people, and they're not. But as a Christian, I feel that we, as I mentioned before, should be doing something to protect children as well as to inform people. Again, education is a big thing. It is a really big thing. And reach out to these young kids who are struggling with their sexuality, that they have got someone to turn to, that they're not going to be excommunicated from everywhere they happen to be at the moment. And that is the reason I wrote the book Untouchable, which I'm just struggling to get it published. Of course, people aren't very interested in that topic to have it written. The next point that I wanted to make is my responsibility, what I can do for my husband or other people. I need to try and understand it. It's not something that I want to understand, quite frankly. It's not something I ask to be associated with or anything like that. I think that, it is shameful because people don't understand. I need to be aware of the risks. So I have a responsibility to be aware of the risks. And that I should maybe chaperone, and I will do that at times. I will sort of keep my eyes open to make sure that we're not going anywhere where we shouldn't go, and that it's all fine, and that I am aware of these things. So I think as a spouse, I do think people are receptive to new information. from me as a professional educator there. And I need to be tolerant. But on the other hand, I really wish I'd been told before we had foster children of the risks. I think that that was a dirty trick that was played on me, because, you know, even though you might be fearful of something happening, I think I should have been told. And so that was a bad one for you. Because I'd have said, you know, okay, let's have a few boys, and you know, even now we think there's so many children in the foster system. I didn't realize that 80% are just grown out of the foster system. I didn't know that 80% of kids never had real families. I heard that a little while ago, but I wouldn't have any little girls in that group if we were to ever have any. But I also have some things that I think they're responsibility of my spouse or people who have pedophilia for me as a spouse or the public. People need to be aware of it. They have to go through that shock. And it is shocking. It is not something we want to hear. You know, it's a bad thing to hear. I'd much rather hear some other information than that. But I think they should tell their siblings or their parents or something like that. If they feel that parent or sibling is understanding, tolerant, and of course they might not be. So I do think people should take the bull by the horns somewhere, even if it's finding support in their action. I do think that they should look for some people who counsel them. We're glad that we have counselors that could do that. They need to talk to someone even if they haven't acted on it. They need to find those people, and that's what education will do, enable more people to understand pedophilia and what it is.
Should the spouse pressure? Should the spouse put pressure on them to get counseling?
I think they should actively seek it. I don't know how much pressure one should put on the spouse to go and find treatment. But I think if you feel that you are okay on your own, that's not fair to your brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers and wives and children, because you might not be. And if you have done nothing to try and assist yourself, that's not fair on us. We've already got a burden put on us. And you need to do the best you can. And as we know, it's not easy to find somebody. And so it's like a never-ending circle at the moment. I would like people who are here, who might have pedophilia as their sexual orientation, to realize that is not their only thing that they're valued for. It is not the only thing that they should be worrying about. We are so much more than our sexual orientation. We are professionals, we're parents, we're children, we're good at building airplanes or knitting or whatever it is. We're musicians, artists, or whatever. So to realize that not everything has to be focused on this one thing. Nor, and this is probably your problem rather than maybe any of the others, we're not interested in it all the time. We do realize there's something else going on in the world other than pedophilia. Really? And we don't want to hear about it all the time, because we didn't want to hear about it the first time, and we certainly don't want to hear about it the 500th and whatever time. There is more to life, and so we're not all that interested in it. I want them to be responsible. I want that spouse to be responsible and make good choices, not necessarily. We know children are in Walmart, and I don't like going in Walmart very much, but there's nowhere you're going to go without children. But let's realize that there is certain risk and acknowledge that risk and tell us that you understand it and that you recognize that. Because we as spouses don't want to, we don't want to lose them. We didn't marry the pedophile for that sexual orientation. We married them for the person they were, the 95% of them. You know, everything else that made them up, not just this one little bit. And so, but the consequences are, if they did something and they were being flippant and, you know, not worrying about things, we could lose an income, we could lose our house, we could have tremendous shame, we could, whatever could happen. So you have a responsibility to look after us, to look after your mother if you're not married, because, you know, don't do things and don't go to places where the risks are high if you feel you can't deal with it. Because it's not fair. You have some responsibility to whoever you're related to, whatever relationship it is. And I think from having lived with Gary for as long as I have, I think sometimes the thought is, and I often hear it about other things, it's not fair. You know, why should I have to have this burden? Why should I have, well, it's not fair for a lot of people. Life is not fair. And so just because you have this, it's like, grow up, 95%, 98% of your life is as fair as it is for any others. This is just a little bit of it. And let's do what we can to make it better. But, you know, it's unfair for all of us, whatever it is we want to say. You know, you're not being picked on. This is who you are. This gives you qualities that other people don't have. But I guess that's pretty much it. I want to keep it short and maybe some questions about it.
We appreciate your perspective.
All right.
Life is not fair. The sooner we recognize that, the easier life will be for us. If we don't expect it to be fair, then so much easier.
Yep.
Thank you, Tabitha.
Yep. Okay, thanks.